Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week we have a flail mower in. It needs a bit of metal work doing to it. Yeah, so this is a flail mower that goes on the back of a tractor, and it's for, well, mowing really, topping, mowing, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so it's for clearing land basically, for topping or mowing grass, topping grass, or cover crops, just mowing everything down so you're back down to sort of bare ground again. And inside here there's a rotor with flails on it. Well, I'll show you actually. I have a rotor outside out one, and it spins around really fast and then just chops everything off and sort of mulches it up and then spits it out the back. Yeah, so this is a rotor out of one. This is like what's underneath that canopy. You have these flails on, and all this lot spins around really fast, and then these chop off whatever you want chopping off, and then centrifugal forces them out, and then if you hit a stone or anything solid, they fold back out the way. And then you get your other type of mowers as well that have blades that go around like horizontal rather than these go around that way. The other type of, like, if you're chopping a crop off, it just chops them at the bottom, chops it off at the bottom and then lays it down, where these is designed to sort of mulch it up more. But anyway, you can see what the problem is with it. It's just rotten. So grass and like plant matter is quite acidic, and it just rots them out. Ideally, every time you use them, they wanted washing off, but that's in an ideal world. It never really happens. So yeah, it's just rotten through, and then halfway up this canopy. And the person that this belongs to, it wasn't actually him that brought it in, but he's not very well apparently. So, and he does watch the channel. So if you're watching this, I hope you're doing all right. So yeah, the first job I think I'll do is I'll take the headstock off. It's just on a tube, and there's a ram so you can slide the headstock one way or the other, so you can alter the offset of it. That tube is just held in with a bolt there and a bolt at the other end, and that should slide out. And then there's just like that link on the top. Take that off, and then get that out of the way, and then it'd be easy to work on then. Right, I've got that headstock taken off now, so I can get to what I want to get to. So what I was thinking of doing is chopping this off across there, getting rid of all that rotten bit, and then pressing a new bit. I'm not quite sure whether this bit here and that bit are all one yet. I haven't had a proper look, but I was going to see if I could press it all as one up to there and then overlap it by 50mm onto the old bit, because the top bit is not too bad. It's a bit pitted here, but I think this has rusted through from this side where that has rusted through from the other side. I have drilled a little hole in it and it is still quite thick even on the where it's pitted. But what I have noticed is in this back corner here, can't see because it's too dark, is it's rotten through there as well, and through there. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that bit. I didn't really want to have to chop any more out sort of from up to there, because I didn't want to disturb where the gearbox mount was. So I think what I'll do is I'll open up, there's a bolt there and a bolt the other side, and then this flap opens up. I'll open that up and have a look in and see what it's like from the inside. I might just be able to just chop that bit out and put a patch in. I've got these gloves on today as well. The cold weather is really cracking my fingers, and I get cracks from my nail around there, and it really hurts. So put gloves on, it seems to, well, it helps keep them warm, and it also keeps the moisture in a bit. It stops them drying out so much. Right, so looking in here, under there, well, the rest of it doesn't look too bad. Looks fine. Spider there. Yeah, the rest of it looks alright. From the top, from sort of where I said I was going to chop it off over anyway. So, the reason why that's rotted out there is because there's a ledge across there, and then all the grass and stuff is sat on top of it, and that's what's rotted it through, because it's got that ledge there. Yeah, you can see the flail there that spins round. Similar to that one, or same as that one I showed you out in the yard. This one's a bit smaller. And then there's a roller on the back as well to squash it down afterwards. Yeah, I'll do what I said I was going to do, chop it off across there, and then I'll treat that as a separate bit afterwards. I don't think there's any point in me chopping all that out just for the sake of that little bit. And it'd be easier for me to press, or it'd be easier for me just to make that bit rather than trying to make the whole lot. So yeah, I'll get the plasma out and then we'll start chopping bits off, start chopping bits out. Make it easier as well that it doesn't fit all the way around there. So I only got to chop around these bits. Well, I'll leave them welded on, and then it'll give me a reference of where everything is, where that tube fits through. Actually, what I'm going to do before I start cutting across that line is I'm just going to cut bits out of here and see how far up I have to go before I get back to sort of decent thickness. I might not have to go all the way up to there. The lower down I can go, the easier it will be for me to press. The more I have to press, the harder it will be to get it to match up again. Yeah, so I don't think we need to go any higher than that. That measures 3.5mm thick. And then if I measure what this is made out of, that measures 4mm thick. So yeah, there's like 0.5mm missing, which not really an issue. So yeah, I think I'll move my line down to nearer that. I don't have to cut as much out then. Right, we'll start cutting away along that bottom line then. I'll probably just do it freehand, because if I'm a bit wobbly it doesn't matter, because I'm going to overlap it anyway. I've just noticed as well there is a gusset in there that supports like the bar that all them bits swing on. Right, we've got the middle bit cut out. Takes a bit of cutting through. Well, it's got a big lump of channel welded on the back. That's what's caused the problem. Like I said earlier, it's all the grass and everything sat on top of there, and then that's what's caused it to rot through. But it's quite a heavy duty bit of channel, so it takes a bit of chopping through, especially when it's full of crap in the back of it as well. Plasma doesn't like cutting through stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have to do the same with these sides now, and then get rid of the bit of steel that's welded onto these, run down the weld. Right, I've got most of that ground up then, got outsides ground up, cleaned up across there. It's just these bits are difficult to get to. So I'll drill the hole in that side, 16mm hole, so I can put a shackle in there, and then shackle around that bit, put my strap around it, and then lift it up and turn it over. I'll stand it on its end, on its back, then hopefully I can get to them a bit better, especially underneath there is awkward to get to. So I might take this bar out. There's a split pin through the end. It might slide that way enough to come past here and then come out of that end. It's quite bent, is that bar, but it still does what it needs to do, but it's just got a bit bent, so I don't fancy having to slide it all the way out. Right, that's a lot better now. I've got that taken out. And then it tipped over. It's a lot easier to get to them. It's not going to tip back. It's sort of sat on that flat. And because the roller's at the back, there's more weight at the back than there is at the front, so it's quite happily sat where it is. I'll get these bits cleaned up and then we'll have to work out where the presses need to be and get a bit of steel cut. Yeah, that's all them ground up, cleaned up as well now. So yeah, we're ready for the plate to go in here. So I've measured from there, round here, round to there. I can't do it with one hand, but I've measured, you know, so the tape measure fits all the way around there. Got my measurement, which is like 550 mil. And then obviously I've measured my width, which is 2195. That gives me 5 mil shorter than what the frame is, and then I've got a bit of tolerance. And I've got that drawn up, and I've put some holes in it as well to weld it back through where the overlap is. So that's ready to go. I just need to swap this 15mm plate out for some 4mm plate. I'll have to move that out of the way so I can get in and out. A bit of a tidy up as well. So I'm just looking at this bit here. I don't know whether this bit has been put on for strength or whether it's supposed to be a bit of a shear for the flails to sort of cut against. But the gap, I did check before I chopped it out, the gap was sort of too big to act as a shear, so I think it maybe is just for strength. You can see how it's all full up with crap. So I'll maybe press a bit sort of from where my thumb is down to there, and it doesn't have that cavity to fill up. So before I cut out the actual piece, I'm just going to cut out a test piece so I know where my presses need to be and what my presses need to be. So, and then if it's the right size, my good bit will fit, or my proper bit will fit in this bit here. Right, so I've got my test piece done. Well, I've actually done 2 test pieces. I didn't video it because it's just a lot of toing and throwing back and forth from the press. That one fits in there now, pretty much how I want it to fit. Apart from it's a bit long, I'll have to chop 40mm or so off it. That one, this one I overpressed it there, and I overpressed it a bit there, so I pressed it back, and I didn't really have a press setting for them two. I just sort of pressed them till they fit. So then my second test piece, I know what these press settings are now. So yeah, 90 degree, 90 degree, and then I don't know how many degrees they are, but I know what number I need on the press. Altered my drawing, so that's 40mm shorter. So I just need to save that again, and then you know, cut that out. And the press settings will be slightly different because that's only 100mm wide, and I'm pressing over 2 meters. So I'll have to put a bit more onto my press settings otherwise the presses won't be enough. But if they fit as well as what they do, we should be bang on, or it should be good. And then I've got my measurements. So I first pressed 35mm, 245mm, and then on the other side, oh no, that's on one side, that's on the other side, and then them two are on the same side. 915, 815, and 790 for my press settings. So yeah, we'll get that cut out of there now. That's marked up, ready to press now. There's 1 pressing on this side and 3 on the other side. It weighs 35 kilos, does that bit of plate. It tells me on there 35.049 kilograms. And then I've done my equation as well. So if you do the width times the length in meters, so it's 510 millimeters, which is 0.51 of a meter, times by the length, which is 2.195, times by 7.85, which is a density of steel, and then times by 4, which is how thick it is in millimeters, gives me 35.15 kilos. It'd be a bit lighter because these bits are missing now, but yeah, it's a good way of working out the weight of a bit of plate, is that providing your plate is, it's got square corners, it's not a funny shape. That's that press then. So it's covered in a mixture of oil and condensation. It's come warm today, and because everything's cold, everything's condensed, and then it runs down and then runs into the V, as well as the ram's leaking, so it fills the V up with oil and condensation. I'll have to give that a clean off. But I've got my test piece sat on the top and it matches that pretty well. Obviously it's shorter there like I wanted it, but the presses match near enough. We're not fussy to a couple of mil. Can always bend it into shape a little bit. So I think we'll sit that back up how I had it before, and then offer this bit in, see what it's like, and then I might press a bit to go in here instead of that channel that it had before to give it some strength. What we're at today, we're about 11.5 degrees, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. Yesterday we were about 5 degrees, so that's why everything's covered in condensation. Right, we've got that bit in. Took a bit of getting in, it was tight. Yeah, it's in. So it still wants pulling down a bit yet and pulling up to there, but I think it'll do what we need it to do. Just have to pull it out a bit as well so it clears that hole where the shaft goes through for that. Yeah, that'll pull up to there. Pulling up a bit more, but that should do that job. I think I'm going to have to take it out again though to make the bit that goes in here, because I won't be able to get in to weld it otherwise, unless I can get in through that panel. Yeah, so for that bit I'm just going to press a bit like that to go in there. The thing is, I think I will have to take that back out again to weld that on. Obviously there'll be a full length one of them, but I don't think I'll be able to get in, so I'll have to take it back out again. But at least I know it fits. Right, so I've got that tacked on now. I've marked it every 6 inch, so I think I'll just stitch weld it. I'll just do a sort of 1 inch of weld over every tack. Right, so I've got all that welded up. So that should have added some strength into there. So it's got that corner and it's got that corner. I'm just going to give this a clean up again. Just going to go over it with the wire wheel, make sure it's all nice and clean before I put it in, because once I've got it sat in there again, I don't want to be taking it out. I might just have to grind these welds down a bit, or grind a bit off the corner where it sits into there, otherwise it'll sit on top of that. And then it's just a bit pitted, so we'll try and clean that up a bit more. Right, so I've got that tacked in now. I have to go along top of the bar and prise it down to close that gap up. That's touching all the way across now, so that's good. The thing I've noticed is, for some reason, I've got a bit more of a gap there than I have there. And there's slightly more there than there is at that side. So, yeah, for some reason, not quite sure why. It's just a little bit further back at this side. But it is only a cover, so I don't think that'll matter. These are still where they should be, because I haven't touched them, provided they haven't flexed on there. You can see that one is bent a little bit. I've measured from here across to the side and the parallel, same with that one. So I think we'll be all right at that. About the same amount of clearance as before between the flail and there, so that should be good. So I don't think it's not for it to shear against, because that's not how these work. It's not like a lawnmower. One of them, it's not like a drum lawnmower that cut like scissors. So yeah, I think we can weld that in now. So it is only a cover, so if it is a little bit out one side to the other, it doesn't really matter. And I measured from there to there, same on that side, it's about 5 mil, so plus or minus 2.5 mil. So yeah, no, I think that'll be all right. We'll make that do. I'll get that welded in now. So that's that welded round. I just need to weld down these yet, but I'll do that when it's back on the level. And it just wants the tacks and that grinding off and smoothing off a little bit. So I just need to make some brackets now for these, like them, to weld back underneath there. The idea of them is if your flail hits a stone there, to stop the stone flying out, so it hits them, sort of takes all the energy out of this object that hits them, and then you don't end up with stuff flying everywhere. Right, so I've got 2 of them brackets cut out, so I'll have to slide these end ones off, slide the brackets on, and then put it back on and weld them in with that shaft through. Otherwise I'm going to have to thread them all off, which I don't fancy doing, especially when the shaft's as bent as it is. So I have to try and reach in and weld them on while it's all together. Right, so I've got them brackets welded in there. I decided I'd take them all off, and I've straightened it out a bit still. I've got all the kinks out of it. It's got a bit of a bow over the whole thing, but it's not too bad. But I'll leave them out for now because I wanted painting under there really, and if they're on, it's going to make it difficult to paint under there, so I'll leave them off. I think I'll tip it back the right way up now, and then I can weld down them bits and then work out what I'm going to do with that rusty bit at the top. Right, so I've got that welded up now. So I took the tube out of there and put it back through and made sure the bolt holes in the tube line up there. That one, I bent it back a bit, braid it back with a hammer because it was bent. So yeah, that all lines up now, so that's that bit done. So yeah, I've got this bit to tackle up here now. So I didn't quite realise it was as bad as that. So I've just been down with a wire wheel in the angle grinder, and it's sort of rotten all the way across the top, and then there's a bit of a hole there, and a few holes across there as well, and there. So, yeah, I didn't realise it was like that. When you look up from the inside, it looks like all this is pressed as one. That's pressed around there like that, and then on the inside there's a bit of box section that slots into there. And then where the box meets this plate is all filled up with grass and whatnot, and I think that's why it's rotten that out as well. So yeah, for what it is, because it is, what year is it? It's a 2004, so it's like 11 years old. No, it's not. It's 21 years old. I don't think it's really worth the time and effort to chop all that rust out. So I think what I'll do is I'll press like a angle and then weld it over the top of that, and then it's still getting the strength back in, but not all the time involved chopping it out. So if I do a bit for there, a bit to go in there, and then do the same for them bits as well. Do it in like 4 sections. And by the time that's rotten away, the rest of the machine will be knackered anyway. So right, so I've pressed some bits like that to go over there. That one wants a bit taking off the ends, and then that'll just cover up them rusty bits. But yeah, I'm not going to video that, I'm just going to get on and get it done. So I'll be back once I've got them bits welded in. Right, so I've got them strips welded in now. Not as nice a repair as that, but I don't know what else I can do with that without having to chop it all out and spend a load of time on it. So at least it's got its strength back now anyway. Yeah, so we'll just give this a quick wipe over with some brake cleaner and a rag, and then we'll give it a coat of red oxide. Right, that's all them back in. So a little bit of a mistake when I welded them on. So I had nowhere to measure off because the old ones completely rotted away. So what I did is I went off like where the wear mark was on the rod and welded them on where the wear marks were, but obviously for some reason it's not quite right. So I had to chop this last one down because it was too wide to fit in. And at this end there was a bit of a gap, so then the bit that I chopped off I put in there. But they're all in anyway. I must have nicked that one a little bit with plasma when I was cutting it up to start with. But yeah, that's all that started. Painted it underneath, all underneath there. And then painted that as well. So yeah, we'll let that back down again now, turn it round. I think the paint will have dried enough, as long as I don't touch it too much, to put the headstock back on again. And then once that's on, it's done then. Right, so that is all that back together then. Oh, I need to put a split pin through the end of there, but the old one snapped off, so I'll have to either drill it out or warm it up and get the old one out. But I don't need to video that. So yeah, that is that sorted. So yeah, that repair should outlast the rest of the machine now. So it's done 21 years already. There's another 21 years and it'll be well knackered. Tube just wants a bit of grease on it. I cleaned off the old sort of dried on grease just so it was easier to put it back together. But the customer can do that when it's on a tractor. Just slide it backwards and forwards and grease it at the same time. So yeah, that's that done. So yeah, that's it for this week. That's done and finished. On to something else now. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.